the headlines. Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU suspend 8-month-old strike. Court of Appeal discharges IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu as Office of AGF says Kanu not acquitted. President Muhammadu Buhari approves 12,000 metric tons of grains for flood victims. And Mali bus blast leaves over 10 dead, dozens wounded. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I'm Zainab Bala. Hello and welcome. The Academic Staff Union of University ASUU has finally suspended the strike it embarked upon on February 14, 2022. The union decided to suspend the strike during a meeting of its leadership that started on Thursday night and lasted into the early hours of Friday. In a statement by the president of the union, Emmanuel Osodeke, ASUU said the decision followed a series of appeals by Nigerians, President Muhammadu Buhari, and the intervention of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. The Court of Appeal had ordered ASUU to suspend the strike before its appeal of the ruling ordering lecturers to resume work can be heard. Members of the union's National Executive Committee, which comprises the chairman of the state chapters and members of the National Executive, attended the meeting at the ASUU National Secretariat in Abuja. Now, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja on Thursday upheld the appeal of the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. The court also discharged the embattled leader of the proscribed group. Kanu had, in his appeal dated April 29, applied to be discharged and acquitted. Kanu was first arraigned on December 23, 2015 and was later granted bail on April 25, 2017. Meanwhile, Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, said appeal court did not acquit Kanu. The court only discharged him. He said government will consider all options available to it on Kanu's rendition from Kenya, as well as pre-rendition issues. Moving on, a federal high court sitting in Dutse, Jigawa State on Thursday struck out an 8.6 billion corruption case leveled against the former governor of Jigawa State, Saminu Turaki, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The trial judge, Hassan Dikko, struck out the case and discharged the defendant for lack of diligent prosecution by the EFCC. Turaki governed Jigawa State between 1999 and 2007. The prosecution counsel, the EFCC, was absent during Thursday's sitting, prompting defense counsel to plead with the court to strike out the case against the first defendant, arguing that the day sitting was the sixth adjournment since the case was brought before the court, and there was no cogent reason is given to the court by the prosecutor for non-appearance. The defense counsel pleaded with the court to strike out the charge. Justice Dikko struck out the case and discharged the first defendant, Mr. Turaki. He also ordered the EFCC to release travel documents of the defendant. Ahead of the 2023 election, northern groups under the aegis of Ariwa Joint Committee says it will not make the mistake of pass and support the emergence of leaders with no vision or plan for the development of the northern region. The group made the comment at a press briefing in Kaduna. Ahead of its planned engagement with presidential candidates of political parties, the committee said it aimed to access candidates in order to ascertain leaders that have the capacity to address insecurity and other socio-economic challenges confronting the country.
Planned engagement with presidential candidates of political parties. The committee said its aim is to assess candidates in order to ascertain leaders that have the capacity to address security and other socio-economic challenges confronting the country.
Given the state of the North, particularly in terms of its security, economy, and infrastructure, preparation of its young to become responsible and productive adults, its relationship with the rest of Nigeria, the critical need for good, effective, and inspirational leadership, and possible changes in the structures and systems of governance to make them more effective, our need to exercise vigilance over who assumes responsibility over our security and progress.
The committee also said there is need for a change in structures and system of governance in Nigeria, which requires vigilance over those who will assume responsibility of leadership in the country.
These engagements have become necessary to avoid mistakes of the past, when leaders emerge with no popular inputs into their plans and programs and with virtually no efforts to interrogate their capacities and vision if they become leaders.
These 6 groups have people from all parts of the North. And the fact that, as you heard in the speech, the fact that we're even collaborating is a tremendous evidence that the North is united. And we want to do everything together.
The Joint Committee comprised 6 notable northern groups, including the Northern Elders Forum, Arewa Consultative Forum, Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation, Jam'iyyar Matan Arewa, and Arewa House, among others. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
There you go. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has expressed optimism that the ruling People's Democratic Party in Oyo State is in good standing ahead of the 2023 general elections. Makinde said this while receiving thousands of decampees from other political parties in a ceremony held at the Lekon Salami Stadium, Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. He vowed to sustain the tempo of good governance that has attracted highly rated and resourceful politicians from various political parties into the PDP fold, and urged both fresh and old members of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to work in unity for the overall success of the party in 2023.
I'm extremely excited today, seeing the mammoth crowd of some of my followers, not even all, that have come to defect from APC to PDP, coming from Okeogun, Ibarapa, Oyo, Ogbomoso, Ibadan, both Ibadan and other cities.
Good work of the government. I mean, we've been together during the coalition, and I've been watching him. Even people of Oyo State take it in me, but he has performed excellently well. So why wouldn't I support him to continue with the good job? Only if I have my own interest, then I will support him.
Look at it. Look at what is going on with our people. You know, we are expecting more people to join us. The members of APC, they are free to come and join us. We are looking forward to it. So, I mean, this is all about our people. It's not about us. And again, I don't abuse people. I just do issues-based politics. I don't need to be abusive.
Zamfara state government has announced total shutdown of 3 local government areas of the state to tackle resurgence of terrorist attacks, killings and abductions of innocent citizens. The affected 3 local government areas are Anka, Bukuyum and Gumi. A statement by the State Commissioner for Information, Ibrahim Dosara, said all affected in the restriction of movement order are some towns and villages such as Erkofoji, Birnin Tudu, Rini, Goran Namai, Jambako, Faru, Kaya, Boko and Mada. The statement said road like Colony to Lumbar Boko Road, Bakura to Lumbar Dambri Road, Mayanchi, Daki Takwas to Gumi Road, Daki Takwas to Zuru Road, Kuchedi, Bawangana Wenki Road, Magami to Dongulbi Road and Gusau to Magami Road are closed. It said the state government has suspended all political activities till further notice, and it is with immediate effect. The state government said these stringent security measures were taken based on recommendations of the State Security Council to curtail the renewed activities of the terrorists across the state. The Kaduna State government says it has concluded arrangements to build a dam on the 800,000 hectares forest between Buruku and Birnungwari towns, which had over the years remained den for terrorists and other related criminals. The Director General, Kaduna State Urban Planning and Development Agency, Ismail Umar Dikko, made this known at the ongoing 7th edition of the Kaduna Investment Summit. According to the Kasubde boss, the dam project would not only address the security challenges in the state, but permanently end flooding in Kaduna metropolis. Despite the increasing number of cancer cases in Nigeria, the country has continued to lack sufficient skilled and trained diagnostic radiographers and radiotherapists for its growing population. To reduce the scourge of the disease, experts are clamoring for increased awareness that would ensure early detection and treatment, as well as a boost in the manpower needs of radiographers. These were part of resolutions reached at the 2022 Cancer Awareness Summit, organized by the Radiographers Registration Board of Nigeria. Trust TV's Aisha Salu reports.
Radiographers are said to be the first line of defense against cancer management, but Nigeria falls short of them as the number of trained, qualified and certified radiographers is not enough, according to the experts at the 2022 Cancer Awareness Summit.
By International Atomic Energy Agency standard, Nigeria needs a minimum of 3,000 radiotherapists and many more diagnostic radiographers. However, we currently have less than 1,000 in the country from records available to us. I wish to urge the registrar and his team to work with the ministry and other relevant stakeholders to address the radiotherapy and radiodiagnostic manpower needs of the country.
We are advocating that there's need to put in funding into this program so that more people, more hands can be trained so that we'll be able to attend to the populace of Nigeria.
To access treatment, there is a need to ascertain the availability and functionality of cancer centers, equipment and personnel at designated hospitals across the country and explore collaboration with international partners.
We want to use this as an advocacy platform to educate Nigerians. One, that there's need to come early for detection, that cancer is curable if it's detected early. Use the same platform to appeal to government to provide incentives for cancer patients throughout Nigeria, such that anybody who suffers cancer will not find himself being seen as having gotten a death penalty.
We are also in collaboration with IAEA. They come in because this medical team and this work is all about teamwork, and we have a lot of professionals we work with and other international agencies. But the awareness and collaboration here in the country is still not as is expected to deliver the services to the poor masses, to the indigent patients, because it's all about global effect of what we do.
The Federal Ministry of Health assures of provision of cancer centers and equipment installed at each teaching hospitals within the 6 geopolitical zones of the country to enable easy and adequate access to care and treatment by cancer patients, while working on strengthening the manpower needs of diagnostic radiographers and radiotherapists. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up, how agents cheat tenants. Details of the story after the break. Stay with us.
Which kind wire you gonna need to light up your light? Oh man, the quality wire. Now which kind cable you gonna need to light up your house? Oh man, the quality cable. Coleman quality. Coleman wire. Coleman durable. Coleman cable. Coleman tank. Coleman cable for any kind of project. Coleman be the come and see. Now come and be the Coleman won't light up your line. Now come and be the come and see. Now come and be the COLEMAN. Quality. Durable. Now come and be the Baba.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Trust TV News Update. Our top stories. Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU suspend 8-month-old strike. Court of Appeal discharges IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu as Office of AGF says Kanu not acquitted. Moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved 12,000 metric tons of grains for victims of flood across the country. Director General National Emergency Management Agency Mustafa Habib Ahmed disclosed this in Abuja on Thursday during the 2022 International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction. He said though the flood in Lokoja, Kogi State was affecting the transportation of the materials, security agencies had been alerted to ensure the materials were successfully conveyed. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, represented by Director Humanitarian Department Ali Grima, said the scale of devastation caused by this year's floods could only be compared to the 2012s. She urged communities to take climate predictions and flood outlooks warnings seriously. Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule has sympathized with the people of Toto local government area of the state over the devastating flood that rendered thousands of people homeless and crops worth millions of naira destroyed. Governor Sule was speaking in Umaisha Toto local government while addressing displaced victims who are camping in Umaisha town. The governor, who announced a 4 million naira donation to the flood victims, enjoined them to thank Almighty God as no life was lost during the unfortunate incident. He explained that some relief materials have been sent to Umaisha Toto local government through Nasarawa State Emergency Management Agency in conjunction with National Emergency Management Agency to cushion the effect of flooding in the area. As prospective tenants go through extortion in the hands of house agents in Lagos, some residents narrated their ordeal on how these agents use their position as intermediaries to demand multiple levies in flagrant breach of the law. Trust TV's Abbas Ibrahim reports.
Lagos, being the commercial hub center of Nigeria, with large population, accommodation seekers are more vulnerable, and car prices of the estate agents for obvious reason. Some of the residents lament how agents make life difficult for many renters in the state as they force them to pay almost 40 to 50% of rent fee as service charges, causing untold hardship. However, some of the estate agents said they did not determine cost of house rent, but the hike in price of building materials and the inflation rate in the country could be part of the problems.
Why the cost is too much in Lagos? Lagos is a business center where businesses are all over. People used to rush to occupy Lagos due to their businesses. That is why the rate of the house rent is very, very high.
Others attribute the high cost of house rent to the state and federal government policies.
By that time, they give everybody 3-bedroom flat, 15,000. If they pay installment, even some never finish, they give them both worker and individual. This time around, they don't. All the people in government they share for themselves. They are locating for themselves. They are sharing it, renting, giving rent out for people again. Begin share for themselves instead to give allocating for individual, both workers. They stop that up. They share within themselves and begin rent it out for people again. That's where the thing come, inflation come on house rent in Lagos State.
I don't even blame the landlord, most of the landlord, because it is the government supposed to give consideration towards the land use charge, a high cost of their land use charge, 200,000, 100,000 per annum. Where is this landlord going to get such money to pay?
It is important to know that Lagos State government abolished 2-year rent and directed that landlords should collect maximum of 1-year rent, which was further brought down to 1 month. Yakubu Adam, a legal practitioner in Lagos, said that the Lagos State government is doing its best to curtail the issue of house rent, agent, tenant, and landlords.
Indeed, the relationship of tenant and landlord is a thing that is governed by Lagos State Tenancy Law 2011, and the Lagos State government under the judiciary are doing their very best to curtail the issue, the dispute that is between landlord and tenant. That is why the Magistrate Court of Lagos State has the exclusive jurisdiction to deal with the matter of tenancy law in Lagos State.
He added that one of the methods of curbing the issue has been resolved to the monthly payment of rent instead of annually.
I heard the Minister of Housing has said this, and I have the same preposition with him, is that instead of yearly rent, we should change it to monthly rent. That would be better. Instead of person to be paying 300 per annum, why not paying maybe 5,000 in a month or 6,000 in a month, as depends on the annual rental value.
Abbas Ibrahim Talibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
President Muhammadu Buhari has called for urgent collective action against the dangers and threats affecting maritime security in the Gulf of Guinea region. The president made the appeal on Thursday at a virtual meeting of the heads of state and government of member states at what will be end of his tenure as chairman of the commission and his last summit as head of state. Kainde Amodu reports.
The Gulf of Guinea Commission was set up in 2001 to tackle the challenges of piracy, proliferation of small arms and light weapons, and protection of marine resources. It also has a mandate to regulate irregular migration into the stretch of waters shared by Nigeria, Angola, Cameroon, Congo Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Sao Tome and Principe, Equatorial Guinea, Ghana, and Gabon. Several factors have threatened the body since it came into existence, including the COVID-19 pandemic and, most importantly, failure of majority of member countries to pay their annual assessed contributions to the Commission.
As the continued non-payment by the majority has greatly affected the ability of the Commission to fulfill the mandate for which it was established in 2001, and is also threatening the continued existence of the Commission.
Despite the failure of member states to meet up to their responsibilities, President Buhari says Nigeria will continue to deploy significant resources towards tackling piracy in the Gulf of Guinea.
Through the Deep Blue Project, in June 2021, the government of Nigeria unveiled $195 million United States dollars worth of boats, vehicles, and aircraft to spearhead the country's fight against piracy in the Gulf of Guinea.
President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana emerged the new chairman of the commission at the end of the summit. From State House Abuja, Kainde Amodu, Trust TV News.
And in business, the equity market on Thursday closed on a bearish note as the all-share index dipped by 0.02% to settle at 47,524.38 points. The market capitalization declined by 0.02% to close at 25,885 trillion from the previous close of shedding 4 billion naira. The market breadth closed positive as 13 equities appreciated in their share prices against 10 equities that declined in their share prices. An aggregate of 86.5 million units of shares were traded in 3,264 deals valued at 2 billion naira. And on the foreign scene, at least 11 people were killed and 53 injured when a bus hit an explosive device in central Mali on Thursday. Reports say the explosion occurred on the road between Bondiagara and Gondaka in the Mopti area, a region prone to violence by roaming armed groups. For more than a decade, Mali has struggled to contain activity by armed rebel groups that has killed thousands of people and forced hundreds of thousands from their homes. Mines and improvised explosive devices are among the rebels' weapons of choice, which, according to United Nations Mission Report, the mines and IEDs had killed 72 people in 2022 as of August 31st. Most of the victims were soldiers, but more than a quarter were civilians. And in sports, Super Eagles goalkeeper Francis Izoho has been nominated for UEFA Europa League Player of the Week and Save of the Day awards. Izoho was in outstanding form in Omania Nicosia's first 0 defeat to Manchester United at Old Trafford on Thursday with 13 saves before conceding in the 93rd minute. The Nigerian will battle Vitor Oliveira, Joy Veerman and William Boving for the Player of the Week award. He's running for the Save of the Day award along with Oyanka Kakia, Kenan Perrick and Jog Sembehadil. And that's it on News Updates. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. Thanks for your time and company.